Hello everyone, welcome back to another director ranking this time. Every Stanley Kubrick film. He's known as the greatest of all time, and I won't argue with that. Let's start from the beginning. Fear and Desire. Now, his first movie from 1953 is just not that good. It's definitely going in the trash tier here. It hasn't really figured out any style, and there's no substance, so... And same with Killer's Kiss, although it's an improvement over Fear and Desire, it's still not good, still pretty... just mediocre for Kubrick, come on. But the thing about Kubrick, starting with The Killing, and all the way until 1999, he's the greatest director of all time. So we start with The Killing here, and it's one of the greatest heist movies of all time. It's going in the great tier here because it's exciting, it's precise, it's not stretched out. It's like the perfect, it's 85 minutes only, and it's like a perfect length, and it's just such a great movie. There's no way it could be in the Met tier. And next, Path of Glory, his first true masterpiece. It's definitely going in the God tier. When I first watched this movie, I didn't know really what to expect because I hadn't really heard anything about it. I just saw the poster. I knew it was a war movie. But the shots here. There's some good shots in The Killing, but he becomes a master with Path of Glory. The tracking shots in the trenches, so many great moments. Some black comedy that he's known for a lot of the time. You got the ending is so emotional. An all-time great performance just in acting in general by Kirk Douglas. Easily Kirk Douglas' best. And, for this and Spartacus, he's better than Michael Douglas, his son. It's just a perfect film. It's one of the greatest war movies of all time. Next we have Spartacus. I'm going to put it in the great tier, a little below The Killing. It's pretty long. This is a over 3 hour epic. But I think it's pretty consistent, and there's some great visuals here. The two a little bit controversial ones are Spartacus and Lolita, and I don't think anyone will argue that they're not good. It's just these Spartacus he was hired on to do. He didn't, do the story himself like every other film he did. And Lolita had a lot of studio interference, too. So, Spartacus, I'll put in the great tier. Lolita, I did give it a 4-star on Letterboxd, and I do think it's a pretty great film. The Met, I don't think there's going to be a Met tier here. That's the problem I'm seeing. No, there's not going to be a Met tier. For Fellini, there wasn't a true trash tier. I just had to move stuff there to fill it out. But here, I can't see... Lolita and Spartacus are not meh movies. They're great movies. But for Kubrick, I don't know. Just to fill out everything, I guess they're going to be here. But they're both 4-star movies, which for me means they're great films. But for Kubrick, it's just he set the bar so high for himself with this run. Dr. Strangelove, for me, is his best yet. Just the mix of comedy, so many... Peter Sellers gives an all-time great 3 performances here. The comedy is actually extremely funny. So many great... just moments, and one of the best satires of all time. Don't really want to spoil too much about these movies. That's the thing. And, there was some stuff in Strangelove to spoil. But now, 4 years later, 1968, he gives us 2001: A Space Odyssey. Come on. I still don't know if this isn't the best film ever made. I've seen it once on the big screen, and... I saw 8.5. I watched 8.5 the day before for the second time. And I was like, okay, the 8.5, best film ever made. Then the next day I watched 2001. And after I watched it, I mean, it's first of all, visually the best movie of all time. And there's no argument there. 2001 is easily the best movie visually. Still to this day. I mean, it gives you chills, just the classical soundtrack with the visuals and even the story in between, even like the opening, it's perfect. The monolith, it's a perfect film, and it's him at his technical best. I mean, the ending, it has one of the best openings of all time, but for me, it's easily the best movie ending of all time. And just the last 20 to 30 minutes are probably the best cinema's ever gotten. I'm getting chills thinking about that ending, and the first time I saw it, I didn't know what to expect. And, you know, it's thought-provoking. It's a masterpiece. You know, I like movies that make you think, and this movie does. And he follows that up with the Clockwork Orange. For me, Clockwork Orange got to be his second best film. Visually, he does so many unique and awesome things here, but what sticks out is just the brutal story being told, and the kind of like, I don't know, the blurred lines of, you're kind of supposed to root for this guy, Alex. You know, the movie has so many great visuals, and that combines it with these brutal acts of ultraviolence committed by Alex and his gang of droogs. And there's a lot of quirks about the world. The world that Kubrick builds in here is one of my favorite kind of dystopian futures ever. Just the visuals, the sets, the clothes, even the music they listen to. What a great film. And some people don't like it because of the depiction of violence, but it's, I mean, he's a Kubrick trying to justify this violence. First of all, Kubrick's adapting a book, so if you want to be mad, blame the author. Some people don't like the middle half of this movie, even though I think that's equally as great, where the guy goes to jail, and obviously the Ludovico technique. I mean, everyone knows that scene. They got the eyes open. I mean, that's insane. You know, it's one of the most, for me, that was kind of like one of the most, like, kind of cringeworthy, disturbing scenes. Because it's just, and for me, it wasn't even that his eyes were being held open. It was like the eye drops that with what he was watching, the brutal scenes. You know, so many iconic moments in the movie. It has to be his second best. You know. Next is Barry Lyndon. Barry Lyndon, for me, has got to be his third best. I'm not going to put it over Clockwork Orange, because the Clockwork Orange is just so unique and in its bubble. Barry Lyndon tells a story. It's a 3-hour epic, but does not feel like that. It's visually, it may be, I think it is Kubrick's second best film, because every shot is like a painting. Every shot is a painting, and it's perfect. We get, you know, it's the story of this guy who just is insanely lucky, first of all, and rises to this power, and it's told in like different parts, and then it's basically the rise and fall of Barry Lyndon. And some people don't like period pieces. Personally, I don't mind them, and this one is the best out of all of them ever. You know, this is Kubrick's next masterpiece here. It's an amazing film. Work of art, pretty much. Next, we have The Shining. The Shining, gotta be number 3 for me. I mean, first of all, the performance by Nicholson can't be overstated. That is an amazing performance, and even by Shelley Duvall, who went through a lot from Kubrick in this film. Visually, it's easily the best horror movie ever made, but you're getting the best visual director of all time making a horror movie. And what I love about Kubrick is that he really does every genre. Seriously, he does every genre. He does sci-fi, horror, you know, crime, romance, historical epics, comedy, drama, war, I mean, he's really done it all. And I mean, what do I have to say about The Shining? It's a perfect film. Next is Full Metal Jacket. For me, gonna be the lower end of the God tier, but I still think it's a 5-star film. Killing, I have it 4.5, but Full Metal Jacket's a masterpiece. I mean, it's separated into 2 halves. First half at the the boot camp. Obviously, what's the guy's name? Like Ernie something. Arlie Ermy as Sergeant Hartman. I mean, obviously one of the greatest characters ever put to screen. He's just so memorable and so quotable. And it shows the brutality of the Army and kind of satirizes the Vietnam War. And I like the second half a lot too. I mean, just the war scenes in general. It's awesome. And I mean, we had to think about Kubrick. He doesn't have that many films compared to people like Hitchcock or Kurosawa. But when he releases a film, it's more than a film. It's straight up art. It's a masterpiece. So, we had to have a 7-year wait between this and The Shining and Full Metal Jacket, but it was well worth the wait. And the 12-year wait between this and Eyes Wide Shut was worth the wait. We get Kubrick's deepest film. And I just watched this recently for the first time with no prior knowledge of it. And oh my god, it is impressive. It's going to be between a little below Path of Glory, but above Full Metal Jacket. I mean, it's just insane. That he could pull this one off at the late of his career, and some people, I guess, don't like it, but I don't really know why. It is a slow burn, but it's purposely a slow burn, and it's just this unraveling mystery that you have to kind of solve for yourself, because it doesn't truly solve everything. It leaves so much in the dark, and there's so many layers to it that you can't fully understand it on one watch. Any scene in that secret society, I think that's some of the best stuff Kubrick's ever done. I forgot to mention the soundtrack on A Clockwork Orange. So unique, and it builds the world too. And I mean, there's not a bad Kubrick soundtrack, because he got mad at someone. I think once because, oh my god, what?